Hey everyone, so this is going to be part 2 of the awareness series where I'm kind of walking you through some different tools that can help you become more aware of symmetry and asymmetry within your body, and different things, different tools that I personally use to assess people during sessions. Now, in this actually being part 2, if you haven't seen part 1, you're going to want to go back and take a look at that video in the primary position where I'm lying down with my legs up on the platform. There will be a link to that video down below, so you can just go ahead and click that and watch that first and then come back to this video. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to get into the primary position. Again, this platform, once you've seen part 1, you'll understand the rules that I was discussing about the height of the platform, making sure that the ankles, bones, are not higher than this kind of center point of your knee or lower than the center point of your knee. It's really more important that they're not lower than it is that they're not higher. They can be a little bit higher, but you definitely don't want to be lower. So this is the thing. Once you've gone through the initial assessment that you saw in the first video, you'll have probably been in this position for anywhere between 5, 10, or up to 15 minutes, and your back and your body and your hips and things have moved, right, from that initial time that you got into the position where you felt maybe part of your body heavier on one side, maybe in the hips, differences in the hips, differences in the shoulders, all the asymmetry that you noticed. You should notice by the end of the position, it feels different. So the next thing that we're going to do, once we've allowed things to settle down, is we're going to go through a couple different movements. The first one, what I want you to do is I want you to take your arms and kind of rotate them up like this, and you're going to slide your elbows out to your sides. You want to make sure that the elbow isn't higher, okay, or really lower than your shoulder. You want it straight out to the side on both sides. You can put your hands kind of in a relaxed fist. You're just going to be in this position. And what you're going to do is you're going to lightly, and again, this isn't an exercise, it's not a strength exercise or anything like that. What you want to do is lightly press your elbows into the ground. And when you do that, when you press your elbows into the ground, you're going to allow your shoulder blades to collapse together, to pinch together. So I'm pressing my elbows into the ground, but the action of doing that, I'm really gliding the shoulder blades together. And then I'm relaxing. If you press too hard, you're going to notice that your chest kind of pops up off the ground. You're pressing too hard, and you're going to move into compensation. This part of your back is moving because your shoulders don't want to move. So you really want to do this light. And you're going to press and then relax, and press and then relax. You're just going to do that on and off in this position. Now this is the thing, and this is where the assessment comes in. Because again, we're looking at symmetry here, right? Symmetry or asymmetry. Because when you do this, you're most likely going to feel differences in the muscles that are working from the right side of the body to the left side of the body, how the shoulder blades glide. You're going to notice just differences. This is what you want to take note of. Now again, as we discussed in the first video, every exercise or every exercise is an assessment at the same time. And these are exercises that we use to correct people within the actual program. But again, it really determines who you are and if this is the right thing for your body at that time. That's going to make the difference between what this actually does for you. But what you want to pull from this is you want to recognize what actually happens as you're doing this movement. If this exercise is going the way that we want it to go, as you're pressing your elbows together and gliding your shoulder blades back, what you're going to notice is that the more that you do it, things are going to start becoming more symmetrical, right? So the differences are going to start to go away as you keep gliding and relaxing the shoulder blades together. And if not, if your body is compensating, if your body might be doing something different because of the position that you specifically are in, maybe you notice that it doesn't change at all, or maybe you notice that it's actually becoming more asymmetrical. Right? So from left to right, you're noticing that the differences are becoming bigger, in which case that's kind of an indicator for you that your body's compensating in the movements. Now, this is also another thing that is really, really important, is recognize that as you're doing any exercise, but we're speaking about this one specifically, you might notice the difference from one side to the other, and you might want to decide that one side feels like it's doing it the right way, and the other side feels like it's not doing it the right way. Like one side feels stuck, and the other side feels like it's doing it right. And in your mind, you're going to decide the right one. The right one is the one that's doing it the right way, the correct way, and the left one just feels like it's doing it off. And what you start to subconsciously or consciously do is you start to try to make the one that you feel like isn't doing it correctly, you try to make it feel like the one that is doing it correctly. And this is where you're going to get yourself into trouble, okay? I've gone over this in my YouTube video about the equal effort rule, and if you haven't seen that, go look at that video. And this is a perfect example of what we're talking about. As you're doing this position, you want to choose sides, and you're trying to pick which side you feel like is the correct side, but I'm going to tell you right now, you're always going to be wrong, because both sides are incorrect. In order for one side to be correct, or in order for one side to be incorrect, that means they both have to be incorrect, okay? So you don't want to pick which one is doing it right, which one's doing it wrong. And it also has, again, we're assuming that it has something to do with this area that's the problem, therefore I can just control it and make them even out. And that's not going to work. If you are doing that, what you're most likely going to find out is that you are creating more asymmetry. And if you've ever done this in exercises in the gym or any other exercise where you're trying to, pin this shoulder down and do the, in the exercise, and you're going, my body just feels like it's fighting against me, like it's super imbalanced. I don't know what to do. It's because you're fighting your body. Do the exercise just by itself, and then allow your body to decide, is this the right movement for me right now? The whole purpose of the exercise is that the exercise is supposed to create symmetry within you. So you don't want to finagle, mess around with the exercise to try and force things to correct themselves, and because it's just going to go bad for you. So what you want to do is just glide the shoulder blades back together and take note. And just as you're doing it, decide, are they evening out or not? And take note on that. Now, the next thing that you're going to do once you've done about 30 repetitions of those, let's lie you back in this position. This is the thing. Remember how your body felt before you did those elbow presses into the ground? Remember how things felt prior to. When you go back into this position and you're lying down, what you want to do now is compare and contrast. What is different now coming into this position? As I'm lying here, do I feel like things that felt asymmetrical while I was lying here before, do I feel like they're maybe different now? Are they more symmetrical? Or do things feel less symmetrical? Or maybe it's different in different parts of your body, right? So again, this is why we're building tools of awareness and really enhancing your ability to understand symmetry or feel the asymmetries within your body. Also by going through movements and practicing your awareness on how they change when you do exercises, right? These are such important skills that you can take into any other movement practice that you do, because your body, again, it's gonna give you the clues when you're trying to figure out, I don't know if I'm doing the right things or not. Let your body be the guide. Let symmetry be the guide. If you're doing this and things are evening out from one side to the other, it's clearly a movement that you're going to want to be incorporating, as opposed to you doing this and noticing that your body's becoming less symmetrical, right? That you're compensating through it. It's not something that you want to do. You either need to set yourself up differently coming into this position, or it just needs to change, right? But something has to change. Otherwise, you're just going to keep having the same issues over and over again. But you have the ability to kind of feel your way through that. So that's the first position. Now we're going to do another one here. What you're going to do is take your hands and interlace them together like this, no space in between your palms. And you're going to lock your elbows perfectly straight over your head without any bend in the elbows. And what you're going to do is you're going to allow your arms. And notice how I'm saying allow, not force. Allow your arms to move back towards the ground over your head as far as they go, where it comfortably goes down. If you're going down and you feel like right about here, you're like, well, I could go more, but either I'm getting pain or I'm noticing restriction and I could go further, but I don't have to push. you don't want to push. You don't want to go any further. You actually want to stop there, and you're going to come back up. Now, if you don't have that restriction, you can go down as far as you want. If you can go all the way down to towards the ground, you can hit the ground. But again, you need to make sure that you can do that without bending the elbows. As soon as they unlock, that's also cheating, essentially, because you're not moving. You're not getting the movement in your shoulder blades, in your shoulder complex. You're getting the movement at the elbow, and you're not actually doing it correctly. So you want to keep your elbows locked the whole way down and go as far down as you can. Also, if you're going down and you're noticing that your back starts to arch or your ribs start to flare up, you're going too far. Again, this is compensation that's happening where movement is happening here because the movement isn't happening here. That's a compensation pattern. So when you might be doing this and your chest is coming up and you think you're doing this exercise that's helping you increase shoulder range of motion, but really all you're doing is you're practicing, spine extension, right? So the movement shifts in your body and it's not serving you at all. Okay, that's a compensation pattern. So what you want to do is just go down as far as you can go down, wherever it's comfortable, and then you're going to come back up and you're going to stop here and you're just going to go back and forth, control between these 2 points, wherever it is. You might notice that as you keep doing it, that it starts to increase. Okay, again, not forcing it because it's not a stretch or anything like that. It's just the action of going back and forth, trying to get both the right and left side of the body to work together symmetrically, right? Synergistically here, they're going to, you'll start to notice, increase that range of motion on its own. But you have to let it happen on its own. You don't want to force it. And you're going to do this about 30 times, just like that. And again, don't have momentum. It's not about momentum. You're not swinging the things. You're not dropping it like a hammer. It's controlled as you're doing the back and forth movement. So once you've done that, go back into this position and relax and feel what is different in this position again. Pay attention. Anything that feels different from the first time that you lay down in this position and the second time, it will be different. That's it. 2 different movements that you can attach onto part 1 in order to enhance your ability to feel symmetry and asymmetry within your body, and also work through movements in a way that we do in my program. You can work through movements and really build more awareness of what is the movement actually doing. Is it helping me? Is it not helping me at all? You can feel that because your body is going to give you the clue. And at first, it might seem challenging. You might have a lot of questions like, I'm not really sure if it feels like things are improving or not. I don't know if I can feel if things are balanced or not. But over time, with this practice, if you keep being introspective within these movements, you will start to feel things change. You'll start to be able to improve on your own kinesthetic awareness of your body and your position, symmetry within your body. And it's going to open doors for you that just weren't open before. So there you have it. There's going to be more to this video. I'm going to add other movements in the future here, but start with these movements and see where you go. Again, add into the comments what you noticed when you did these movements. Were you able to feel asymmetries in your body when you did the exercises or positions? Did things improve, or did things go the opposite direction? Did things become less balanced? And that's going to give you just a little bit more information about your own body and what your body is doing. Thank you guys for watching. We'll talk to you real soon.